Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Tata Steel Chess 2023, the first elite chess tournament of the calendar year. We've been following a lot of amazing chess players throughout the past couple of weeks. Today's video, it doesn't feature the type of games necessarily that we show up to chess recaps for. So today, I am going to have to supplement that, adding a little bit more spice, if you will, to the frying pan of the games, but some of these games are useful if you would like to take a nap. Actually, I will be taking a nap after I record this video. I'm very tired. I just had way too big of a lunch. You know when you have a huge lunch? I would have recorded this video like an hour and a half ago. I was just laying on the couch. You know who else probably wished he was laying on the couch during instead of playing this game? A one Magnus Carlsen. And the reason why I say that, well, you know, sometimes you show up to the board and certain things happen, right? So Magnus begins this game against Wesley So in the 11th round of action out of 13. He plays the move d4, and look, Wesley plays the best lines. Wesley does not just show up and play, you know, some nonsense. Wesley plays the Nimso Indian, which is why you would utilize that move order. Magnus plays e3, looking either for the bishop d3 setup or the knight e2 setup. And Wesley can castle, he can play d5, he can play c5. He chooses to play c5, which is the most principled line. Magnus does in fact play this, blocking his light-squared bishop, but now we have this. And oftentimes in these Nimso positions, black takes, and black takes. So black chopped a couple of times in the center, then developed his knight and castled. A very, very solid line. And what black is going to do in this position is play b6. Let's just say give white a move. Bishop b7, let's give white a move, and then in many positions, black will blockade this pawn like this because it's an isolated pawn. I'm not saying that move order would occur, but I'm saying that's the general idea, or just to have a very powerful bishop, or to rotate the knight over this way. Now, Magnus in this position already played a move that was, when I saw it, it was surprising to me, and the reason is all the pieces fly off the board. So he could play queen f3, pinning the knight to the rook, and then after this, he can try to put bring something back. Like, the computer actually evaluates this position very, very confidently for white. Maybe at a low depth. Like, maybe if I let it run a little bit, it's just there's nothing, right? But at first, it's saying there's like a lot. But Magnus plays the move d5. Now, the reason that move is surprising is because everything is going to get traded. Everything is going to get traded. So we're going to have like a massive central explosion. We have pawn takes, we have knight takes, we have bishop, we have knight takes, we have queen takes, we have bishop takes, we have queen takes. When I saw this, I was like, okay, this game is going to be a draw. Because, you know, they got the same exact pawns. There's a bishop for a knight, but this is my elementary eye. I'm just like, I don't, who's asking the questions in the position? It's Magnus. No questions, absolutely. And actually, in the interview after the game, he said this is what he wanted. I mean, he wanted a position where only he was asking the questions, which is very fair. And he brings his rook and queen out. And the thing is, folks, to the untrained eye like yours, and actually also like mine, like this position is at a level, they can calculate the intricacies of this position much better than I can. I can do it better than you, but that doesn't mean a whole lot, all right? I've played chess 20 years. You might have played it for, 2 days. And so we get queen and knight in 5 versus queen, bishop in 5. And it really, it's just going to be a question of, like, what can Magnus accomplish? Can he poke at the queen side? Can he get his pawns forward in such a way that it's going to be beneficial? Like right now, Wesley could have played very passively here, but instead, Wesley trades the queens. And Magnus gets a queen trade, but now the black pawns are a bit split, right? So it's 3 like this, and that one's an island. And if white, let's just, just one move in the wrong direction and white getting a centralized king could be enough to pose long-term problems. And if black's pawns are frozen on the same color square as the bishop, it's simply going to be a loss for black. So there really are a lot of intricacies here, but Wesley does a nice job despite allowing Magnus basically everything, like everything you would want, a more active king, pawns that are just totally frozen from moving forward, pawns on the same color square. He gets everything. I mean, Magnus literally got everything he might want But it's still not enough because Wesley immediately puts his pawns on light squares, and they start trading. And Magnus still has a one-on-one over there and continues to ask questions. But Wesley's so clutch, dancing around the board with his knight, even though he's got very poor pawns. They're untouchable because they're on light squares. And by the time Magnus is able to win one pawn, you got knight a5 on the way. So Wesley doing a very nice job. Great defensive effort from him and expertly done. You might ask yourself, what is going on here? Why would you sacrifice the knight for the pawn? Because when you have an outside pawn and a bishop, if the promoting square is a different color than the bishop, it's a draw. So Wesley can just lose everything and go there and it's a draw. And that's exactly what happens. Magnus decides to do it this way, but it would have made no difference if the pawn had been trying to queen. It's just a theoretical draw. So, like, to me and you, this game is tremendously a bunch of nothing. And it really, it is. But at a meta level, Magnus was the only one asking questions in that position. He talked about it afterward. Like, it's hard to beat Wesley. I mean, we saw Hikaru struggle with it mightily in the CGC. Like, Wesley's just a really solid dude sometimes. Not much you can do. However, the rest of the games are not solid. And as always, I've saved the best for last. The last game of the video is completely insane. But first, I want to give a shout out to two very special individuals who are sons of two special individuals. And those individuals who I want to shout out are Warner and Stone. And I hope you both did your homework before you watch this video. Special shout out. This is not like something you can buy. Don't think like, oh, I'm going to buy a shout out to my kid in a Gotham video. No, this was a very special case. And I don't want to say too much, but I hope those dudes finished their homework before they moved on with watching this video. Now, Dingley Ren, the second best chess player in the world in classical chess versus Jurriaan van Forest. So this one was a Slav defense, a very sharp line, and where this got really goofy is right here. All right. Dingley Ren played the move Queen B3, which attacks the pawn on C7. The only move that I have ever in my life been aware of in this position is Queen C7. I don't know any other move. The point is to defend this and target that with the rook. Like this. Like this. Queen C7. This man, Jurriaan van Forest, played a move here. He took on C4. Which on its own is not ridiculous, right? You would probably think, oh, I just take back. No. Eyes on the prize. Jurriaan gives up B7 completely. So this is under fire, that's under fire, and that's going to be under fire too. So what is the point? You could go rook B8, but then I take. I have an extra pawn. So Jurriaan plays C5. Oh my God. What has Dingley Ren gotten himself into? And also, C5 looks like it just loses. The idea is that if D takes C5, black is actually going to go here and be better, but C5 allows knight B5 with the threat of Queen A8 and knight C7. Huh? Is Jurriaan just losing in 10 moves, or is he an evil genius? Like, Jurriaan plays alien-style chess. Like, the way I think of Jurriaan's chess is if aliens decided to, come down to Earth and try to emulate 2700 level grandmasters, and they somehow stumbled on Jurriaan's games. They'd be like, beep, boop, C5. Like, but then Jurriaan doesn't play like a human. He plays like an intelligently programmed robot. Knight B5 is lunacy. Jurriaan allows knight C7 and just moves his king. As if this is just normal. As if Jurriaan isn't from a large family and has siblings watching. I'm sure there are young Dutch kids who look up to Jurriaan, and they look at this, Jurriaan. Jurriaan, you should be disappointed because 1,400 rated 6-year-olds are looking at you going, Dad, why can't I move my king to E7 like Jurriaan? I don't know what the Dutch equivalent would be. It would probably have a lot of double letters in it, like Forest. Anyway, Queen A7, Queen C8, and Ding is going to lose his knight. So somehow he's going to lose his knight. He's going to go here, lining up an attack on the king. Jurriaan's going to take its discovered check. But now instead of taking the rook, if you take the rook, remember you're going to lose your queen. All right, so remember that every time a piece moves, other pieces might have their eyes opened. Yeah? In this position, the king is in front of the bishop. Yeah, not anymore. So you got to take with check, so your queen can't get taken. And now we have Queen C3. And the game very quickly does what's called petering out, okay? as Ding is like, geez, I'm done with this game. I'm just going to consolidate king e7. And Jurriaan actually could have even considered playing on. I think the computer was giving him a very decent edge here after knight b6. But we have g5, and a couple moves later, just rook h4 creates this barrier. And the players actually just repeat moves. So Jurriaan decides not to try to, you know, continue to pose Ding problems, and we have solidity and a draw. But, I mean, not all draws are the same, all right? Some draws look like the last game, some draws look like this. But sometimes, you know, after really, really ridiculous engine prep, games just become draws anyway, because if both guys play at the top move of the engine, position is just equal. Especially if it's very forcing, then a lot of pieces get traded and, you know, things simplify. Okay. Now, 2 games that did not have a draw. Both of these games were decided by a winner and a loser. The first game is Praggnanandhaa Ramesh Babu, whose name they just remove, and Parham Maghsoodloo. This one began as a Najdorf. H3 is known as the Adams attack, named after Wednesday Adams. E5, so there's 2 ways for black to play a Najdorf. One is E6 and one is E5. E5 is the more active Najdorf. The knight comes back to F3, and in this position, Praggnanandhaa looks like he makes an over-the-board mouse slip and plays knight H2. Let me tell y'all something right now. If I ever saw any of you play knight F3 and knight H2, I would contact your parents and ask them to disable your connection to the internet. You know, like, parents need to disable, like, they need to do parental controls to see, like, what bad websites their kids are going to. You're going on a good website, chess. You still can't go on it anymore. You can't even access the internet. All right? This is heinous. Knight F3, knight D4, knight F3, knight H2. I don't know what deviant stuff you're getting yourself into. You are too young for that. And if you're watching this and you're 30 years old, all right, and you're still playing like this, I don't know who I'm going to contact. I'm going to contact next of kin, you know. I really don't know. I'm going to contact a friend of yours. I mean, knight H2. Now, the idea of knight H2, just so you understand, is I don't know the damn idea of knight H2. How about that? The idea, I think, is to go knight G4, trade off the knight, and seize control of D5. Also, knight H2 carries shock value. And I'm pretty sure shock value was achieved because within the first 15 moves, Pragg had a fantastic position. Like, he got everything he wanted, and I'm pretty sure his opponent was sitting there going, yo, this MFer, which kids don't ask what your parents what that stands for. It stands for Master Fudger. This dude really played knight H2. This dude played knight F3, knight D4, knight F3, knight H2, knight G4, knight E3. What? Huh? That's what he played, y'all. I'm not even joking. Now, in the Najdorf, it's all about the D5 square, all right? And Pragg had a great position. And then Pragg played this. That same knight, which went boop, 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 now goes to F5 and dies. And his idea was to open up black's king, but Parham just says, no, we're not opening my king right now. No, that's not what we're doing. Now, knight takes d5 looks like a free pawn. It's not, because after knight d5 and queen d5, rook d8 will win the bishop. So bishop h6, rook d8, and all of a sudden, Parham takes over the game and goes knight a4 and basically just says, you can't be trusted with horses. Just look at how you treated the other one. And the other one, now Pragg is left with no knights. He got no horses, and the queen is trying to get to g7, but it's not happening. Pragg's still trying to go full steam ahead. And, yeah, Parham's like, what if I just play f5 and just take your pawn? And then come back? And where is your attack? Like, where is white's attack, right? Okay, bishop c4, I just take the bishop. Okay, like, my king is out in the open, but it cannot actually be checked. I'm threatening to take the bishop. The bishop comes back, and black's a pawn up. And not only is black a pawn up, black's got these dudes. Let me tell you something right now. Black is going to push those dudes. Let me tell you something right now. Black doesn't even have to push those dudes past where they are right now. Black can use those dudes to go here. And those dudes are going to open the gate for the other dudes which are going to open the gate for the other dudes this way, and it's complete collapse. The e-pawn has a red carpet to the conclusion of the board. Bishop h4 will cover the promotion square, and it's just a matter of time. You can do it with the d-pawn, you can do it with the e-pawn. The pawn makes it through, and a lot of tactics, but he makes a new queen, and he's just going to win all of the remaining pawns with bishop h4, and rook c2, bishop back to f6, and rook f2. And I mean, black's pawns are just going to collapse. White's pawns, excuse me, are just going to collapse. e3, king goes back, e2. And the game ends with a very, very beautiful tactic, which I will not scream, but I will simply say, in this position, to promote his pawn successfully, Parham Maksudlu sacrificed the rook on h2. It's a forcing sequence that makes king takes h2 happen on the next move. Bishop g1 comes with a check, and e1 sneaks in before it can be taken. Rook h2, a beautiful final move, and Prague resigned. What a weird game. Knight h2. Now, he actually had a good position. He didn't lose because he played knight h2. But what on earth was knight h2? That was wild. Chess is so weird, all right? All these kids spending time on the internet, their parents don't know what they're looking up. Well, they're looking up knight h2. You guys know that meme? Man and woman laying in bed, man on his side, and the woman's like, I bet he's thinking about other women right now. And the guy's going, why did Prague play knight h2? Or, what absurd looking move can I play on move like 6-7 in the Najdorf? Now, if you had the patience to make it this far in the video, the game that you are about to witness is nothing short of spectacular. And I said that this video is good for a nap. And I'm not necessarily lying. I will absolutely go lay in bed after this and try to sleep. I'll probably just go on my phone for an hour and a half and not actually take a nap because, you know, 2023. But let's see this game. Now, Beardson is quickly becoming my favorite chess player. All his games are super exciting. This game is a Rossolimo Sicilian. We have g6, and now a weird line where he doesn't take on c6 right away, even though that's literally the entire point of putting the bit. Like, chess has developed into such deviant, like, lines. You go here to take and double black's pawns, and then you just don't.
You're like, nah, I'm not gonna do it, man.
And then when you're attacked, that's when you do it. So basically you're saying this was a stupid move by black because I was gonna take on c6 anyway. But black invites this, and we have a, you know, complex position. We get a very sharp line here, c5, trying to give up this pawn in order to play take, and knight e4. He doesn't play that, and now we have b5. So both sides are just seizing as much space as possible. Bishop b7, and visually speaking, white's position is completely dominant, but it's not. The point is that black actually has meaningful pressure on the center. Black is going to have crisscross applesauce going here with the bishops at any moment, and black is going to play b4, and the knight is going to move, and the center is going to be very, very unstable. So we have this. Black seizes control of the other diagonal and brings the knight back, and now plays c4, and the knight will dance into the white position. So the position is anything but clear. Here comes the knight, here comes white's knight preventing knight d3, and here's rook c8, knight e2, and the bishop drops back, and now it's very clear that these knights are about to pull up into the black position. What's up? So, complete opposite side of the board. Beardson going for this guy, Ivic going for stuff on the other side. h5, g5 shuts the door, knight drops back, e5 looking to lock the center, but now the d-pawn can walk. Not yet though. First we shove the bishop backwards, now we play knight c3. The idea of knight c3 is that if you play b4, I'm gonna pop out this way. I'm gonna try to get my queen into the action, all right? So that doesn't happen. Rook e3, rook f3 targeting the pawn. Black jumps into the white position. That knight might die. That knight is definitely a nuisance. White plays a4, looking to poke a hole in the defense of the black queen side. Black takes, white takes, attacking the queen. Queen a6 slides out of danger. b3, once again trying to poke a hole in the stronghold. So the knight moves to f4, effectively completely blocking white's attack. Beardson drops back with his knight to target this and try to get to f5. Black takes the pawn, white responds. Now the bishop comes in, blocking the queen's vision this way. All right? Beardson now says, all right, my knight's got no forward momentum this way. I'm going to bring this knight back too, just like I brought back that knight. Now, apparently, rook c3 is winning for black, all right? Beardson messed up, and in this position, the queen needed to be chased again. Back this way, knight e2 check, and apparently black is, like, getting the upper hand. Instead of that, Ivic saw this and got scared and played king to f8. But that gave white an opportunity to take on f4 and then come here with the knight. Instead of that, he does it this way, and now apparently black is better again, but we have d6. This pawn is such a problem for black. That must be terrifying. Just a random pawn in the middle of a fight to the death among pieces. Pawn's just walking through. So what do? Right? You go rook e8, and now the best move is to hit the pause button and not even push it. Apparently it's to play knight d5. What a cluster you-know-what of pieces. A cluster fark. F-A-R-K. I just invented that word. See, it's a family-friendly channel. Instead of that, Beardson plays this, obviously. Rook here. Now he takes. Now he jumps into the black position. That's a sacrifice of a piece. If you take for free, I cannot take because of this, but I will sneak in and you're going to die. I'm going to go here, etc., etc. If you try to trade queens, I'm going to go here, and you actually can't stop queen g7 checkmate unless you lose all your pieces. So, rook takes d7, though. Now knight ef5. And now the only thing that black can do here is to block the queen by playing rook c4. And you cannot take because of this. But Ivic plays queen c4, sacrificing his queen in order to grab a rook and threaten mate. This is mate. And you know what white does here to stop mate? I told you this was going to be a fun way to end the recap. The only way to stop mate is to run. He runs out of the side of the castle. The king's gone running. In the words of Conor McGregor, Jose's going running. The king's gone running. Up to h3 he goes. Black takes the pawn on e4. Now the knight is threatened. That's made in a couple of moves. So you know who plays defense on the knight and the rook? The king. King's like, I got y'all. If that bishop takes either one of you, I'm snapping back and I'm surviving. The king is actually completely safe from checks. King e2, knight blocks, or it's like king goes back to g4 probably. I actually don't think king e2 survives. I think there's probably some tactic there. King has to go back. In any case, the bishop slides back to d5, and the hunt for the king continues. Queen d7, it's going to be a buzzer beater finish. All right, we have rook takes g2 check. This rook blocks. Rook takes g3. Knight takes g3. Bishop takes. Knight e4, check on e2, and in this position, this king had an opportunity. In the game, he just got blocked first, but he had an opportunity to play king f5 and then finish the walk. How gangster would that have been? If the king went here, 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 and here. Can you imagine? And the king becomes a checkmating asset. Bishop g4, knight f5, safe. Take. He will come right back, and it's game over. Insane. Insane in the membrane. Instead of that, all right, king walked up a little bit later, but we got bishop d6, check. And in this position, if you play the move king f6, you lose in a tragic fashion. So that didn't happen, and instead we got this, and black resigned because all of his pieces will perish, including, look how big the board is, his rook. What a walk up the edge of the board, huh? King h3, king g4, incredible. What a game to end on. 11 rounds of Tata Steel action are in the books. We will see if Magnus Carlsen can win his last two games to storm into first place out of nowhere. And yeah, if you'd like to follow the standings of the event, link is in the description. And that's it. I'll see you in the next video. Get out of here.